Pokemon Day for 2024 is set to drop within the next week, and the expectations on finding out what the next few Pokemon games are going to be are really high. There's rumors, there's possible leaks, and there's speculation going crazy online right now. So in this video, I'm going to discuss a couple of posts that I thought were interesting on Twitter and speculate into what I think is the 2024 game and possibly what I think Generation 10 is going to be. The first screenshot I have on screen right now is a tweet from Blames talking about the gimmicks for Generation 2 and previous generations. Now, the Generation 2 gimmick was 2 new types and held items, and Blames wants a return to that in Generation 10. But if we're being honest, I'm really hoping that Mega Evolution comes back. Now, Generation 5 had a really interesting group of Pokemon in the Pokedex that were introduced in the Unova region, and Generation 6 that followed introduced Mega Evolution. Returning to Unova and uncovering Mega Evolution in the Unova region would be quite fun, and I really am hoping for some of the Generation 5 Pokedex Pokemon to get Mega Evolutions. I don't want to see the Terrestrialization returning, and I don't want to see Gigantamax and Dynamax. I just really think those gimmicks was a bit bleh compared to Mega Evolution, but if we didn't have any gimmicks and just added possibly a new type and a bunch of new held items or evolution styles, I would actually appreciate that a lot. Now, my expectation for Pokemon Day and the game we're going to see in 2024 is the Generation 5 Unova, either a remake or a follow-on from Black 2, White 2. Now, I'm really hoping they avoid going to the art style that they did for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, even though I quite enjoyed that and I thought that was unique for that game. I don't want them to follow in the footsteps of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee either. I feel like that art style was a little bit of a childish one compared to some of the previous games. So if I'm completely honest, I hope they stick to the Scarlet and Violet art styles, but just enhance them a little bit. Now, make the environments a little bit more alive, make the characters feel a little bit more, and just give the overall sprites a little bit of a work. Now, the Unova games would be awesome to see in an open world game, but I don't feel like they're going to do this. They might stick true to the original Black and White storyline and just have the game a little bit more open and the routes feel a little bit more alive, kind of like what they did in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but I'm not expecting too much and an insane game. I feel like that's kind of sad to say as a Pokemon fan, not to expect anything insane and well done. Now, we could look at Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee into sort of inspirations for the Generation 5 remakes, but both those games had a lot of flaws, and so did Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. With the expectations that we're going to get a game in 2025 and then also Generation 10 in 2026, are the Game Freak and Pokemon designers and game developers really going to put in as much effort as we'd hoped for? I know we've seen the rise of Power World and the expectations that Pokemon could step forward in their game developments and create an open world kind of like the Power world, but I don't feel like we're going to get that at all with this game in 2024. But we could set our expectations higher for Generation 10, as this is the 10th generation of Pokemon and we're rapidly approaching the 30-year mark of the games being out. Other possible games that could be announced are a new Legends game. We could also be experiencing maybe a new storyline for a Pokemon game, which could be cool. This screenshot from Soul Silverheart on screen right now goes into their possible speculation on a Pokemon Legends of Celebi game, a Pokemon Black and White 3 game, and a Pokemon Generation 10 story that could be completely different to what we've seen before. Now, this expectation on Generation 10 being something magnificent is obviously something we need to kind of lower a little bit in my opinion, but I can't help but be excited at the fact that Generation 10 could be the biggest Pokemon game we've ever seen, and 2024 and 2025 could be games that are just okay. A lot of these screenshots and a lot of these posts I take with a grain of salt because they could just be people trying to create engagement and also just speculate just to get people interested in their posts, but this post from Dusty Go-Goat is kind of cool. Generation 10 is heavily inspired by Pokemon Legends of Arceus, which means they're going to take the open world from Legends of Arceus and expand on that. They're going to create a massive open world with the classic battle system. Pokemon are going to have overworld utility, which is really interesting. Pokemon can maybe use the HMs, they can fly around a little bit more. Pokemon are going to also be able to go on, or you and your journey are going to go on true side quests, and they're going to be a lot of boss battles, which is really exciting. Now, I hope they still have gyms. I hope they still have those sorts of of, you know, unique Pokemon features in the games, but I'm really looking forward to a complete open world, a world where you can just take your Pokemon, you can adventure, and you can explore everything together like a Pokemon journey is meant to be. My perfect world would see us getting a Pokemon Generation 5 remake on the Nintendo Switch for 2024, 2025 seeing a Legends of Celebi game, and then Generation 10 being a complete open world and an expansion on the Legends games. Maybe we could see Generation 2 returning in Generation 10 and being a complete open world, or we're going to get a complete new game for Generation 10. Either way, I'm a Pokemon fan and I'm always going to get excited about the possibility of new Pokemon games. I know Pokemon games haven't been the best in recent memory. Scarlet and Violet had a lot of issues. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was hated by a lot of people. And previous games before that were just a little bit mid in comparison to the earlier Pokemon games. A true Heart Gold Soul Silver remake for the Pokemon Nintendo Switch would be absolutely amazing. I love those games so much. I would love to see them return to the Nintendo Switch so I can play them. But we're also going to be getting a lot of old games added to the Nintendo Switch library, so we can potentially have some nostalgia hits by returning to some of the earlier games. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. What would your ideal Pokemon day be? What are you expecting for the next 3 Pokemon games? And are you excited for Generation 10? I know we're still in Generation 9, but it's kind of hard not to get hyped by the fact that Generation 10 is right around the corner. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.